What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Partially Cultured Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron. With me, always, is my co-hosts, Alan and Isaac.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going, guys?
I want to thank you guys for all the views on our last video about Deja Vu. It's been our highest viewed video so far. Reminder, go to our website partiallycultured.com. Hit all our media links in the bottom of the page. Leave comments. Tell us what you guys want to hear about. And leave any questions or anything. We read all those. Hit the bells and the thumbs ups and all the good stuff for us. Anyway, I'm going to do something a little different today. We're all just feeling kind of lighthearted and don't really want to get into some serious topics or anything. So what we did is we pulled up the IMDB top 250 movies of all time. And we're just going to go down through the top 20 and it's going to be a nice little chat. We're going to talk about some movies and see if we agree with where they're on the list, what we liked about them, what we didn't like about them. Just give you a heads up right now, probably will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen these movies, you might want to skip as we go through them. So, if you don't want us to spoil them for you. So without further ado, let's talk about number 20, Seven. It was 1995. I believe that's Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and I can't think of the guy's name. What's his name?
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. Yeah. So that one, it's about a guy that's a serial killer, and Brad Pitt's a cop or a detective, just made detective or something, moves to a new city with his pregnant wife. Number 20, I think, is probably a good spot for this movie. I haven't looked at all the top 250. The one below it, actually, 21, The Silence of the Lambs, I might put that ahead of Seven. But that being said, Seven was pretty dope, not going to lie. I like the twists in that one.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing of this really, not only that, but like the whole concept of like someone using the 7 deadly sins as methods to kill people, and like how he picked each individual person because of how they depicted that particular sin, and then he would kill them in a way that was pretty much like exposing what their sin was. Like he had the really, really fat guy that was like the homebody that was the gluttony, and he made him eat to death. And then he had the huge twist at the end where he's the entire time been kind of playing with them, and Brad Pitt is Wrath, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I mean,
what's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
John Doe has the upper hand.
I mean, that was a really good.
It's basically Saw, is what it is. I mean, because that guy picked up people for, their sins. But don't get me wrong, anybody that's listening or watching, it's not anything like Saw. But the concept is kind of the same as, grabbing
better. I feel
grabbing people for their sins.
It's an excellent movie, well directed. Everybody in it is just great at acting their part out. They do it flawlessly. Morgan Freeman is, just a legend, in that regard. Like, he's just really good at what he does. Brad Pitt, kind of newer. He still has that. He's got like that 12 Monkeys vibe to him still, but like that kind of a cocky character. But really, just solid performance on everybody's part. Kevin Spacey is a complete
that
creeper,
dude, man.
No matter what he does, so
he is hella creepy in that.
He is creepy, but great movie.
And I'm pretty sure this was the first time that David Fincher and Brad Pitt worked together, because they worked again with for Fight Club, right? But I'm pretty sure this is like their first time.
I think so.
Touching something together.
95.
Yeah,
probably.
Fight Club was 99. It's on our list somewhere. I'm kind of with you though, Aaron, on the Silence of the Lambs thing. I mean, I think you could put him probably it's probably really difficult to put those at any lower or higher than each other. I think they're pretty even as far as what they turn out to be. But there's some things culturally wise. I think Silence of the Lambs has more like culture awareness, maybe.
References
But
and
I'll put it this way: I wouldn't want to be the one that's trying to rate the top 250 movies of all time.
yeah,
Because I mean, it would take me forever. I'd never make a list because I'm like, I don't know. I could see it going either way here.
that's true.
You know, so it's kind of hard to give someone a number 2 when you're still feeling, strong about it. But anyway,
I can agree.
7.
I guess we could agree though that it would be like around 20 or at least the top 50.
I would put 7 in the top 30 movies I ever watched, probably. So I would say, yeah.
it's also like pretty heavy. Like it's a pretty
it's
dark.
It's
And has a lot of gore.
It's
So
it's
not
a
for
rough
the faint of heart.
watch. It's not a.
You're not bringing the kids to
It's
that
not a.
one,
He-
right?
Yeah, don't have the kids go make popcorn and watch 7.
Come on, my dad
Um,
did, but-
I mean, it's the twist though. The twist at the end is what I really liked the most about
Mhm.
that movie.
Yeah, same. Number 19. Don't have a fucking clue. Number
Oh, I
19
love that
is
movie.
7 Samurai.
Akira.
This is
Have either of you seen that?
I've seen
Yep,
it.
I have.
Aaron, Alan, you want to
Go.
explain it if you possibly can?
So it's I got into it because there was this old anime called Samurai 7, and I really liked that anime. And then I found out that Samurai 7 was based off of Seven Samurai. The Magnificent Seven was also kind of a ripoff of Seven Samurai.
Huh.
Essentially, what happens is there's a bunch of there's like these 7 samurais. They're like they go to this town, and there's a bunch of like rebels that keep on invading this town, and they hire these samurai to like protect the town and stop the rebels from like destroying the town and all this stuff. It's actually very similar to A Bug's Life. Also rips off Seven Samurai because it's in A Bug's Life they they go and get the crew to come back and like protect the village. So it's pretty much like you have this group of people that's coming to this town to the aid of the village, and they're all very different characters. They all have very specific archetypes, and it's masterfully directed by Akira Kurosawa, who's one of the best directors to ever do it. So I absolutely love the movie. It's black and white, so you have to be cool with that kind of thing. But like a lot of the shots, like he'll like frame things very specifically, like very like intentionally, right? And like Tohiro Mifune, who's like the main character in a way, like the main samurai. He has an awesome performance. Very good movie. Highly recommended. It's like 3.5 hours long though. So you have to
Holy
be ready
shit.
you have to be ready to sit through it. And I recommend watching it subbed, not getting any of the dubs, just because it takes away from
Yeah, the
you know
immersion.
but yeah, I liked it a lot.
So
It's
you're
it's
saying
up there
it's,
for me.
but you're saying it's not as good as the new Mortal Kombat.
It's 1,000 times better than
This
new
was such a
Mortal Kombat.
classic movie.
I think
that-
it should be higher, if I'm being honest.
It's such a classic movie that you had all those odes to it, like he was saying,
Yeah.
Magnificent Seven, and well,
It's like a whole concept of like. those
How have
type
I
of
not
movies
seen
where, like,
this?
I don't.
movie.
You probably seen it and just don't
It's very
remember
good.
it because it's really kind of iconic.
Nah,
even,
you
like,
remember it.
it's- But
I've never even heard of it.
even like Star Wars
What?
in their latest, and like in the it was the first season of Mandalorian had an ode to it with one of their episodes too.
Yeah.
It wasn't 7 of them, but
Yep.
it was like a couple of them instead. But
Well, I'm gonna have to see if I can watch that this evening because I feel like a jackass now because well, in my defense, I'm only partially cultured.
right,
I'm not all the way cultured.
it shows. It
So-
shows.
I enjoyed it a lot.
All right, so
Good,
number 19
very
is that a fair ranking?
good movie.
I feel like it
It's
should be
definitely
higher.
in the top
personally.
20.
I
I
really
don't
like it.
know exactly where I'd put it though. But yeah.
All right. So number 18, I hate to admit it, I've not seen this movie either, and I am a huge Jack Nicholson
What?
fan. I've seen pieces of it. It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And
Dude, that movie fucked me when I seen that thing for the first time.
I
That shit had me fucked up.
I don't know the premise of it. I think it takes place in like a psych ward or something.
Yeah,
Like I say,
it's
I've
like
seen
pretty much like
pieces.
Jack Nicholson gets sentenced like being in psych ward because he's like a badass. Like he's like a rebel and he's like kind of like a delinquent, kind of like a criminal. So he really and doesn't he's not really crazy, but he gets like put in there because he's an asshole
Right.
pretty much. And then in the court over the course of being in this psych ward, he's surrounded by all these crazy people. He like starts slowly getting crazier and crazier because he's just surrounded by all this like lunacy all the time. And then like by the end of the movie, they like do electroshock therapy on him because he keeps on being like rebellious and like fighting and getting the like being like getting all the crazy people together to like try to break out and all this other
Right.
shit. So like eventually they do electroshock therapy and he's like he's done. Like he's just fried now and he's actually crazy. And it's like back in the day, you could just put someone in a psych ward if
Yeah.
you without against their will. You know what I mean? And they would just do experiments and shit on you, and you would have no say on it, no say about it. Like that, like there was like two movies that really made me like feel like, oh, that's fucked. Like it gave me like this really like bad like feeling of like it's uncomfortableness, and there's like Requiem for a Dream made me super uncomfortable. Like just seeing those crackheads running around all crazy and doing all this ridiculous nonsense, and then like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
What about a Clockwork Orange?
Eh, I felt like I wasn't as because it's not as realistic. Like it's not something that could like is gonna be happening right now. But like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was like, damn, like that's fucked. Like what if somehow I get put in some kind of psych ward for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and you see like the thin line between like insanity, and like how this you can just slowly slip into it. Like it's like really insidious because it's and Danny DeVito's in it if I'm not mistaken. He's pretty good. He's younger in
I'm
that.
gonna have to check that one out too. But
What do you got? What
Yeah,
do you think?
it's
You seen it,
good.
right?
I don't know if I don't know if I see it as top 20 good, but it's been a long time since I've seen
I
it
wouldn't put
too,
it
so
top
there could
20
be
either.
some just misremembering some things in there. But it was a good movie, and it did showcase, like you're saying, that thin line and such, and there's a lot of little odes to that movie as well, and a lot of things like Family Guy and Simpsons, and like just culture appropriated, for lack of a better term, a lot of little things from that movie. Uh, but yeah, I liked it. I don't know if I put it at 18, but I thought it was a really good movie still. But,
Yeah, I probably would put it lower just because it's not like a lot of stuff's going on. It's kind of like those older movies where like there's a lot of like it's drama, acting, a lot of good like dialogue and stuff like that, but there's
sometimes
not
there's no
a
dialogue at
whole
all.
lot
It's
of
just
meat
kind of
on the
still,
bones.
and you see things happening. People don't have the patience for that kind of stuff nowadays. Maybe that's why I don't see it as highly either. But
But the performances are especially I mean Jack Nicholson's performance is
yeah, I
nuts,
mean,
man.
I wouldn't
It's probably his best
if you told
performance.
me Jack Nicholson was in a movie, I wouldn't argue with you that it's top
Hmm.
20, except for maybe the original Batman. That was well, not the original, but the late '80s, early '90s, whatever it was, the first Batman. So, all right. Number 17, I have made up for not seeing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with seeing this movie probably 350 times. One
Bullshit, man.
of, I think, the masterpieces out there. Number 17, Goodfellas. Um,
Good old Scorsese.
I mean, what can you
Yo,
not say about Goodfellas? I mean,
come on. De Niro, Pesci, Ray Liotta, man. That movie's fire.
it is. I
I didn't
mean,
even realize it's like based on like a real story.
yeah,
Like it's like I thought it was just like a gangster movie. Like no, this is like an actual true story of this like gangster and like stuff that he's seen and went through. And I'm like, what? That
yeah.
made it that
I
much
think
better.
dude is still alive.
That movie's so
The
good.
witness.
Joe Pesci in that movie is nuts
yeah,
too. Like I
This
fucking
movie
love
made
Pesci
Joe
in this movie.
Pesci. Period.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Pesci's. It's like he's
it kind of typecast him though, because
Yeah, yeah.
you can't
I
watch
think
anything with Joe Pesci in it now and be like, that's believable, because you remember
his
him
performance
from
is
Goodfellas. You're
yeah.
waiting for any minute that he's gonna whip out a pen and start stabbing someone in the neck with it. It's one of the greatest mafia movies of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, hands down.
I mean, top five, easy top five, mafia movies.
Shit, might be top three.
Yeah, yeah. Casino. See, Casino has like the same cast of characters, kind of, but
Yeah,
it
they
can't,
don't
it
hit the
can't,
same.
it can't touch Goodfellas. It's not on that level. So
The storytelling is great in that. It's got good, like really good characters. I mean, you can't really beat the actors. You know, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci.
I like the narration of it, the way it's, how he's telling the whole story. So I like that part about it too.
Yeah,
And it's graphic.
It's also cool, like you're seeing how he gets into it, right? Like, because Leota starts, like Ray starts off as, he's not like this huge, kingpin guy that's made and all this shit.
And
Like
he's
he's
not,
slowly kind of,
100% Italian.
yeah, you know what I mean? And he like slowly like just gets wrapped up in the whole world and like starts acting more Italian and talking and the like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just
It,
slowly becomes more and more like corrupted.
if anybody that's watching or listening has not seen Goodfellas, I find that hard to believe. But if you haven't, I highly recommend checking that one out. I would probably watch that over before I would watch What Over the Cuckoo Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I don't know the demographics of people that are watching this, but like my brother is 11 years younger than me, and he hasn't seen a lot of these on this list. I would say, and that
He hasn't seen Goodfellas?
I would probably say that he hasn't seen that. Like I would
Oh
almost.
my
I actually
God.
have a list of movies wherever I'm like, "Hey, have you not seen this?" And he's like, "No." So I put it down. It's like 200, 300 movies long. I mean, it's like, you got to see this movie, and he probably gets tired of me saying that, but there's a lot of these classic films.
I feel like
you've got to see this movie.
I feel like you failed as a brother at this
There's
point.
only so many hours that I can tell him to watch this stuff. You know what I mean? So.
I would
Nah, you gotta just
chain him
tell
up.
him to come over. You gotta just tell him to come over one day and like you're gonna hang out and like have some beers and shit ready, and then just
Oh no,
put it on.
we did that. We
And,
did
like,
that for
that's it.
years, and you still have more on that list. It keeps growing.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, the list of movies you have to see is not getting any bigger for people that have seen good movies, because they don't make good movies anymore.
See, that's what we wanted to make as a topic for today. Was
That's not true. That's not
I
true.
wanted
They
to,
make some.
I wanted to make the topic how movies suck nowadays. But if you look at this list, the most recent one is 2010 in the top 20, and I think that's valid. I think there's not really.
That's,
It's kind of like we were talking about the Super Bowl commercials the other
Yeah.
day. There hasn't been a decent Super Bowl commercial or a run of decent Super Bowl commercials since the late 90s, early 2000s.
Or like 2003, like the latest that anything good came out. So
Yeah, I mean, nothing's funny anymore. Everybody wants to be.
there's
woke.
one-offs here and there,
You can't say anything fun.
but like
So
there's one-offs, but like there's not like consistently good seasons of good episodes or whatever of that.
Oh, kind of off topic, but not off topic. You guys watched Westworld, right? The HBO show.
Yes.
yeah,
Did you know that's based on a 70s movie?
Yeah, I've watched it.
I did not know that. I thought it was like this new thing. I'm like, well, that's a pretty damn good
It's
idea.
written by Michael
And then
Crichton, if not mistaken.
I'm over at my mom's this weekend,
same guy that did Jurassic Park.
and my
there, right?
stepdad, all he watches is like the AMC classic movies. And it advertised, and I'm like, Westworld. And I was just watching. I'm like, holy shit. That's the same concept as I was like, I knew it. Nobody's coming up with original ideas anymore. They jacked it from the 70s.
They did change a little bit
So-
Hey,
around
check from a
in
book.
the show compared to the movie, but it's there's still the elements are there. But
All right. So number 17, Goodfellas. I would say it probably deserves to be higher on the list, but I don't remember everything on the list, so let's keep going. The next one, I've not seen as many times as Goodfellas, but probably close. Coming in at number 16 is The Matrix, the first one.
Yeah.
I am not a big sci-fi fan, as my friends know. However, there is some sci-fi that I dig. The Matrix was a badass movie. I love the action, the idea, the concept of it, the way they filmed it. I mean, with the
The
fucking
Matrix redefined action movies. Like it redefined action in general in film. Like they invented entire new ways to film things. Like like there's it's one of those movies where like it redefined not just the genre, but like film in general. Like like what was possible before and what was possible after. You know what I mean? Like there's a there's a distinct moment specifically with action movies where it's like before Matrix and after Matrix. Like all the wire work and like the kung fu stuff that they like took over. You know what I mean? Like slow
Bullet
mo.
time, yeah.
Every fucking movie bit that. In the early 2000s, every fucking movie had some kind of slow mo or bullet time scene or
yeah.
fucking, you know what I mean? Crazy wire work and flying around and
Video
shit.
games too. I mean, you had
Like the
you had
Matrix
like
is
Max
fire.
Payne and the Matrix. You know, game
Max
itself.
Payne. That's what I was trying to think of.
All that stuff had elements that they kind of had to. I mean, stole for a better, lack of a better term, but like, you know, they had to incorporate it because that was everything at that time. Yeah, like you're saying, everything incorporated that for the next 3 or 4 years, and even in like Shrek, you know, they've got the
Yep.
slow mo bullet time and everything. You've got it's just persisted throughout.
That's so
since then.
Yeah, so many movies and games and TV shows have copied that shit. I mean, not copied it like in their own, but paying homage to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so you're right. I mean, it redefined it.
And it's like it's deeper than that too. Like it's the concept of the Matrix and like living in a simulation. Like we have like even Elon Musk talking about
Yeah,
talking
like
about
people
that kind of
believe
shit.
that shit is for real now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of layers.
Like it redefined
lots of,
it.
Like deep philosophical ideas. Yeah,
like yeah.
A lot.
Yeah,
more so that like even understand.
Very
A lot of people
nuanced
don't even
concepts.
understand that stuff. Like once they get into philosophy, like they read philosophy books and stuff, they're like, "Oh, now I'm picking up on something like that," or you know, or "Oh."
And it's like a lot of symbolism and like allegory and stuff too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Neo being pseudo Jesus, right? Like all this, the resurrection, right? When he get later on in the so it's
And when he gets the glow, you got to pay homage to the Last Dragon.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Last Dragon's not on this list.
That movie's so Bruce Leroy.
Yep. So
the Matrix is
Matrix, number 16, bomb ass movie. Would not argue with it being number 16, other than the fact that number 15 probably doesn't even need to be on the list. Number 15
my good sir.
is Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
How does that not deserve to be on the list?
Not gonna lie, I just told you I'm not a sci-fi fan. Not gonna lie, I've seen The Empire Strikes Back. Meh, whatever. I mean, pew pew pew. I mean,
come on.
It's
I am your father.
It's so oversaturated now. I'm over it. When I was a kid and saw them, like, it was outstanding. Because they were breaking ground in CGI and stuff.
Yeah, they redefined
sure
effects.
But
you know what I mean?
Then once I started working in the IT industry and everybody and their mom was like, Yoda for Halloween and, always talking about Star Wars and had like bobbleheads and dress up to go to the movie to see it. I'm just like, y'all need some help. So I was kind of sick of it. I was over it. I haven't seen a Star Wars since because I don't even know the damn numbers. So I don't know what episode it was. What came out in like 98, 99, 2000?
Phantom Menace, probably.
It was the first one since the 80s.
Episode 1 then.
Probably the Phantom Menace. Yeah, episode
That was
one.
the last Star Wars movie I watched.
That was a bad one to watch again because the Phantom Menace had a lot of poor things about it. So for a lot of
But
folks,
you guys can talk about how great Empire Strikes Back is.
I I love Star Wars in general as like a whole, but I feel like rating one of them separately, like rating only the Empire Strikes Back as like it's the only one that's in this top 20. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand why. It's because it has the most memorable part, right? With like Luke finding out that you know Darth Vader is his father and all that kind of stuff. So
Spoiler
it's like
alert.
the
Jeez,
thing
you
that
ruined it.
sticks. Oh my
Screwed it
god!
up.
You only had 70 years or
Yes.
whatever. But I feel like I would probably, if it was me and I had to pick, I'd probably put A New Hope above Empire just because it's the introduction of the entire thing. So a lot of the things that I would give it credit for, like with regards to like redefining how, you know, effects were made and props and minis and like the scale of it and the whole hero's journey kind of arc, like that it kind of, re like invigorated. I'd probably give that to A New Hope. But Empire Strikes Back is is funner and has a lot more memorable stuff in it.
I like
But
the
it's
Ewoks. Were they in that one?
that's that's not that one. That's episode. That's Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I like the
Um,
Ewoks. Thought they were cool.
This is seen by most Star Wars fans as the
that's a
best
bad
one
movie.
of the three, The Empire Strikes Back. But I have to say the same thing. Actually, I didn't want to agree with Alan, but I think Episode 4 is better in general. I think that's a better story, and I just like what happens in that better than maybe there's more action and more
Because the cliff
like
is
that was setting up. That was the setup, and a lot of times
it
people don't
is.
enjoy the setup as much as they do kind of the more of the payoff in 5 and 6. But in a lot of movies, it's like that. It's like, well, we like the action of whatever after it's been set up, but I really like to set up a New Hope rather than uh,
Yeah.
the elements in a
It's because this has Yoda in it and it has like Luke
yeah
training and shit and it has the whole like I'm your father, it has more action. So like I get why it's the
yeah
one that's there, but it's not even a full movie. Like it's a there's a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Like it's a hard cliffhanger. Whereas with a New Hope, they gave it a definitive ending because he wasn't sure if he was gonna make anymore. So like as a story, I feel like a New Hope just stands
yeah.
alone better. Um,
So, are we thinking Empire Strikes Back belongs number 15 and the greatest movies of all time?
I think it's
I think that A New Hope should be there,
Okay.
but I think
a
a
Star
Star
Wars
Wars
movie
a
of
Star
those of
Wars
the first
movie,
generation being there
yeah,
is okay.
definitely deserves to
I
be
wouldn't
there.
have it in the
Okay.
top five,
Yeah.
like if I was to put it up there. So that's good.
Well, I hope not. All right. So, number 14, switching gears. One of my favorite movies, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Again,
I love the
great
entire
movie.
trilogy.
What's that?
I I love the entire trilogy.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the Lord of the Rings, because they're all three of them are in the top 20.
Yeah,
That speaks alone
they're all
to
good.
how good they are. They're all amazing,
Uh,
and they man,
the storytelling in that is outstanding. I mean,
it's epic too. Like the cinematography of it, like
oh
it's
yeah,
the scale. You know what I mean? Like they don't make shit like that anymore. Like they literally were like flying into these like remote ass places in fucking New Zealand, who no one ever filmed that before. You know what I mean? Like it's like Peter Jackson just somehow convinced somebody to give him $100 million or a few $100 million after making like his previous biggest movie was like Frighteners or some shit.
right,
You know what I mean? Like I don't know how he could, and then he got to do the movie that he always kind of envisioned of doing, right? Because as a kid, that's what like, he loved Lord of the Rings. Somehow he got it. It's like the amount of shit that had to go right for this movie to just get made, let alone to be this fucking good, like the trilogy to be that fucking good. I can't even think of it. It's it's great. Like I've had people that I've bribed into watching Lord of the Rings because they don't want to watch because they're like, you bunch of nerds and the elves. And I'm like, just fucking watch it, man. I make it my birthday gift. Just try it. Just try it. And they'll watch it. And when fucking Gandalf's falling off the bridge, you know what I'm saying? They're like, no, no. Or when fucking at the end, when you know what I mean, in the Return of the King, when fucking Sam comes out the cut, he's like, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. And he picks up Frodo, starts going up that fucking mountain. Like I've had grown men tear
Oh
and
my
cry.
god!
You know what I mean? Oh, like here's the real one. Here's the real one. You know, like fuck that. Those movies are fucking amazing, man. Like they make you feel. That's the sign of good art is when it makes you
I
feel
feel like
shit.
the Lord of the Rings should be higher than 14.
Those well, that's the Two Towers specifically. The Fellowship is at 10, right? And then the Return of the King is at 7.
Oh,
I think,
there's more in here.
yeah, all three of them
Oh,
are in the
okay.
top
Well, never
20.
mind.
Like that's how you know it's good when all three of them are in the top 20.
Yeah, no one else is doing that.
Yeah, there's just
So
to me, I have a hard time like separating them just because I like the story all together, like combined, and it's
yeah,
like collectively they should be like top 5, or something like that. It's like, I
me and the family, I have like at least once a year we make an effort of like we're gonna do a Lord of the Rings extended edition marathon.
Oh my
We'll
god.
start early as fuck in the day. We'll start like early as hell in the day. Get a bunch of snacks and like dips and food and all things pre-prepped, and we'll like watch it all the way through, and we'll like take breaks and stuff in between. But like it'll take the entire day, but it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things that we do as a
nice.
family,
No.
and it's like it's
So no arguments with Lord of the Rings. The Two Towers at number 14. I wouldn't argue that, other than I think it should be higher. So coming in at number 13, I haven't seen this one either. This was
what?
a horrible idea. I haven't seen half these movies.
Well, now you know what to watch.
Inception.
I guess, so.
Inception. What is? I have heard of this movie, but I don't know
You
what
haven't
it's
seen
about or
Inception?
anything.
Come
So
on, Aaron. How have you not seen Inception?
there's a couple of guys.
You're
It's
killing
kind of
me.
like a heist movie in a way, right? But
It's dope. The concept
yeah,
is dope. It's a heist movie, but they're
Hold
trying
on,
to
hold on, hold on, hold on,
influence.
hold on. Don't spoil this
okay.
for me. Just give me the
It's essentially
overview.
a heist movie. They're trying to steal something, and the whole
Okay.
basis is without.
Mm,
I think you can
mhm.
tell them what Inception is, right? I mean, but
So
I'm saying like you can tell them what the term Inception is without ruining the movie, right, Alan?
I think,
Okay.
yeah, they tell you that in like the first
It's okay,
10
yeah.
minutes
It's pretty
what
much
the
yeah.
concept is.
So the idea of Inception is implanting an idea into somebody's brain,
So
subconsciously,
that they
so that
think,
they think that they came up with the
yeah,
idea.
Okay.
All right, and so there's ways that they do
and
this in the movie
yeah,
that are incredible in their thought processes. The whole idea of it's kind of crazy, but it's neat. It's adds like some extra flair to it, and to the heist genre movie, and there's some video like some cinematic elements that are impressive and confusing as well. It's a good movie. I think
yeah,
I really like it.
because and then yeah, because a lot of the movie takes place in the dreams because they're trying to incept these ideas into the person's mind via like dream jumping. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's like it's I don't see how
Uh,
you won't like it. Like on it, like I don't see how you like. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised you haven't seen
I
this
like
movie.
heist
It's
movies.
fucking.
Heist movies
It
are
is
some of my
very
favorite.
good.
it's got
Me too. I
it's
love
got
heist
action.
movies.
It's got a little bit of deep thought, and it has kind of an ending that makes you
Yep.
think like, how did it end? It's like kind of
What?
a mystery a little bit.
Yeah.
It's up to interpretation, I
So,
should say. But
It's a very good movie.
so is number 13 fair of all
Oh
time?
yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a
I
little
think
high
so.
on the list,
All
but I mean, I think it's a pretty good movie. I mean, like, it may need to be closer to like 20 to me. I mean,
I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I think like the concept of it, like just I don't want to. I can't
you
talk
can't
about it freely
just
because
Yeah.
I don't want to
just
ruin it
don't.
for you. I think the concept of it is you know what it is about what it is about it. It's super unique. It was like we were just talking about how they don't make good movies anymore, and like they haven't had anything that's new or whatever, and there's no new ideas. This shit is totally new. Like the concept and idea of it was like no one's done this before. No one's talked about doing this before. But then he like packaged it in something that's like super relatable and like digestible, like a heist movie, which is fucking fire. I love heist movies. And then it has like amazing acting, crazy action, like crazy visuals. Like it's good.
All right.
It's very
So
good.
I'll put Inception on my
The one
list.
con I have of it is that some of the visuals take away from the movie to
Don't
me,
hold up.
but they're neat that they're there. I mean, and you see them in other movies since then as well as kind of an homage as well. So
Yeah.
All right. So coming in at number 12, 1994. I really feel in my age now. I did not think this movie was almost 30 years old. And that number 12, Forrest Gump.
definitely one of my favorite
One of
movies.
my
I love Forrest
one of
Gump.
my favorite movies.
I love Forrest Gump. Yeah, I
I
love Forrest
mean,
Gump.
again, it's like the underdog story of the ages. You know, this kind of slow guy, just everything he touches turns to gold, and you know he's got his struggles and he has to get through them, but he just does it. You know, he doesn't cry about it. He just fucking grinds, and
You know what I love about it is like there's like some shit in that movie that like is fucked up. Like you like they show like they show like the her going like becoming a stripper or like showing what I mean like all this like getting hooked on drugs and then the fucking Vietnam War and the like people getting blown up and shit and all kinds of fucked up stuff. And through all that, like Forrest is just like happy. You know what I mean? Like he's so innocent
he's just
and like
grinding,
he doesn't even realize he's grinding. Like he's just
just
being a good
living. It's
person
just living his
and
life.
doing what he has to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like really, really like inspiring in a way. Like, and it really like makes you see or think of shit differently. You know what I mean? Like we should all hope to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like just let shit grind you down
I would think my
and just keep
favorite
pushing.
lines in that movie was when he was in the army. You know what he had a job to do. He was to follow orders. That was his job. And when the drill instructor asked him, "Why did you put that weapon together so quick?" Because you told me to. Best answer ever. I mean, it just made sense because that was his job. He did his job and he did it
But
well.
that's
I
also
mean,
what
it
the
was
army wants. So it's
poignant.
like he made the perfect army guy because he just did what he was told to do.
You tell me what to do, and I mean, that's why I mean, you can learn a lot from that, really. You know, you're playing football. What's your job? We hand you the football. You run to that end zone. Don't let anybody stop you. That's your job.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also a neat telling of history along the way, like American history, the good and the bad of it.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
they put
yeah,
it into context of his life, which is through that very tumultuous time in history too. And
yeah,
it's interesting. I love the soundtrack to it. It's like one of the best soundtracks I think in any movie series or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like it. Uh,
yeah.
Tom Hanks,
I don't understand how he didn't win an
he's
Oscar
so
for that
good at
fucking
acting.
movie.
No,
It's
no
ridiculous.
clue.
No fucking clue. Like that. That's an amazing performance.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Gary
That one.
Sinise as Lieutenant Dan in that was awesome.
He was on point too. I
Yeah.
mean, everything about that movie was good. I mean,
And it has funny parts. It has super dramatic,
Yeah.
sad parts. You know what I'm saying? Like it has action part. Like it's it's fucking good, man.
I mean,
I can't.
I kind of equate Forrest Gump. I don't know why, but I just kind of put him in the same box as Big Fish. If you've ever seen Big Fish, the Tim Burton movie, which is
Yeah.
kind of a weird ass movie. I don't really care for Tim Burton, but I don't
I
know
love
why I
fucking Big
like Big
Fish.
Fish so much. But I thought it was a pretty good movie. So Anyway,
My brother loves that movie. I'm not a huge fan of it.
number 12, Forrest Gump. No arguments from the panel, I don't believe.
Nah, should probably get more up there.
Number 11, crazy concept, but everybody feels it. That's why I think everybody latched onto this movie and called it, a masterpiece or whatever. Number 11, Fight Club.
Yep.
Again, dope ass movie, dope ass concept.
David Fincher again.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I first saw this movie and I was like, I can relate to this. I mean, how many times do you just want to go off and just rip someone to shreds? I mean,
yeah. I remember I first watched this movie when I was like 17, and I had just smoked like a huge blunt, and I was dumb high, and I was like, let me watch this movie. And
probably not the
I'm
best time to
sitting-
watch it.
Well, but as a teenager, like you're in that angsty stage, and you're
Yeah.
like, like trying to be all macho, and I'm the man, blah blah blah. And then you've seen this fucking movie where like this guy is just beating the shit out of people, and the guys are like, you know what I mean, like just fighting, and it's aggressive, and then he's angry about all these things that are like legitimate reasons to be angry about. And you start thinking about like how that's gonna fuck up how messed up things are in the real world and all this other stuff. And then there's a twist at the end that's like mind blowing, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't fucking see it coming, but you don't see it coming, but the entire time it's in your face. That's one of the things I loved about it. It was
Yeah.
like that's like the best kind of twist. It's not the twist where it's like, oh, it's some, like it's some bullshit. It's like the Sixth Sense in a way, where it's like the entire time they didn't hide anything from you, right? Like you had everything available to you to make you realize what was going on. But regardless, like it's fucking great.
I think it's something that a lot of men kind of they can identify with, like Aaron was saying. Did you too, Ellen? I mean, like you were talking about your angsty, persona or whatever back then.
Yeah,
It's something about. I think something that men can identify with. They feel the same kind of rigors in society and such. They want to unleash and all this other stuff. There's also a lot of elements to this of like anti-establishment, anti-corporatism, and that type of stuff,
yeah.
which is, which we all feel to a degree.
Anarchist
So it's
type mindsets.
but do you go the same route as they do in the movie or not? That's maybe a question that they kind of leave up to you. But
That's probably a little over the edge, but
the
Well, he lost his mind, and you know what I mean. Like he
Right.
snapped. But like that's, dude.
but
Yeah.
but that
twist.
element, to that whole thing. Well, but you saw how easily the people in there were willing to fight for a cause.
But that's what it is, because it's all about having that leader, that spark, right? That's why I feel like in history, I mean, whenever you'll see people that all feel or think a certain way, and it just takes that person to galvanize.
yeah, it's like, well, these motherfuckers think the same way I think. It's so. Number 11, Fight Club. No arguments from me on that one. Number 10, we can probably kind of skip because we've already talked about the trilogy. It's The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. No arguments from any of us that it should be top 10.
Nope.
Number 9. I'm actually surprised to see this on the list, but I love this movie. It's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Dude, I hadn't seen that movie at all up until like a year ago, and I was like literally like going through this list and trying to see all the movies, and I'm like, I always hear about this. Let me just watch it. And I watch it, and all the little, like the music, the little,
like, well, that's where that came from.
I'm like, where is that? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the shootout when they sitting there like with the gun and like staring each other down and all that shit. I'm like, oh man, it's like it has so many like pop culture references in it. It's nuts. It is really good. Like I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was.
And it's fucking Clint Eastwood. How can you not like Clint Eastwood westerns?
I grew up watching Clint Eastwood stuff. I mean, because my dad was a huge fan. So in fact, every what was it? It was like TBS every day after Thanksgiving, so Black Friday. They would show
Yeah.
a run of all of the Clint Eastwood films, including Good, Bad, and Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, etc., etc. They would show all of the westerns, and then even go into like Dirty Harry movies and stuff. And I watched all of those every freaking year, and in between as well. But like every year, I would watch that on Black Friday. That was like a tradition of ours, just to watch that. And crazy good. I mean, this movie, like you said, it's just everything. Everything out there pays homage to it. I mean, including Back to the Future too. You know what I mean? The names and stuff. Clint Eastwood wears the poncho, the music element, and to think that it's not even like this wasn't made in Hollywood. This is made in Italy as a spaghetti western, which is kind of like they weren't even regarded as like real westerns back then, really. So it's like it just kind of neat.
So number 9, no arguments from me. I don't guess because I mean I think it's a great movie. Real quick though, what's your favorite Clint Eastwood western? Is it this one?
I haven't seen that many of them, so I would say that out of the ones that I have seen, it's this one. But Isaac would seen. You guys probably would know much.
I think I might even like. Is it High Plains Drifter?
That's good. I mean, they're all good.
It's between that one and this one. I mean, they're both good. I like them both. I'm not sure.
I'd have a hard time. I mean, I like Pale Rider.
Oh, I love that too. Ooh, love that one.
I like Unforgiven.
Oh yeah. Outlaw Josie
Wales. And I also like the Outlaw Josie Wales. So I don't know.
Hard to beat.
He made a lot of good westerns. So all right, number 8, fucking masterpiece. 1994, Pulp Fiction.
Oh man,
Quentin Tarantino's weird directing.
Quentin Tarantino's weird mind. It's
everything.
All of Quentin's movies are pretty fucking amazing.
I didn't like that hotel one. That was trash.
Hotel.
What hotel one?
The 7 rooms or 4 rooms or whatever it was called.
Well, that's he did like a part of it. It was not like a full movie, right? That you're talking about the one with like he does one story, then Robert Rodriguez does another story.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but it was trash.
I don't really count that one. I'm talking about like ones that he directed the entire.
I like Reservoir Dogs. I like Django. What else has he done?
Inglourious Bastards.
Pretty good.
Never seen that.
What? Oh yeah, that's a good one. He did Hateful Eight. That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
And then the one with Samuel L. Jackson when Jackie Brown.
Never saw that.
Pretty good too. Yeah, that's good too.
Anyway, Pulp Fiction. I'd say it's a toss up for me, being this one or Reservoir Dogs. I thought Reservoir Dogs was pretty outstanding.
I think they're good movies. I think this one has more iconic elements to it.
It absolutely
like
does.
The scenes and stuff are well put together and way more paid to homage and the rest of the film. So.
Definitely more quoted by everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
it brought Travolta's career back online. He was damn near out of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Point.
I mean, it's for anybody that hasn't seen this movie, it's kind of hard to explain it. It's tied up in so many different stories. It's
the structure is what really got me when I first watched it, because it's these separate stories that are all connected, but they're told in the wrong order. So you're seeing, and then I think they do that on purpose so that you don't realize that they're all connected until it finally clicks. So like you get these little, vignettes of something happening, and they're all kind of like gangster related because they're like, mob kind of gangstery type stuff going on. Like, yeah, and I think if any, it's the first movie I can think of that really played with the format in that way, where it's like backwards sort of, or like structured in a unique way so that it's not like the beginning, middle, and the end, right?
It may have
It's
been
like,
done previously, but I don't think so. Like that's the first one I can recall
I
that's
don't.
like that.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
But
yeah,
If you haven't seen it and you watch it once, don't say it's trash. You need to watch this movie probably 5 times
yeah, because
to really
I think you get
grasp what this
I think
movie
you get
is.
confused on the first go around if you're used to the typical linear structure of a movie. This one's A, B, C, D stories told right after each other in line in a weird order, and then it puts it all together at the end.
yeah,
But it almost seems like they're totally disconnected stories. But then you see at the end that they're all really together. It's one big
yeah.
story.
It took me a couple times watching it when I first saw it. I was
Has
like,
good music,
yeah, got some good tunes in it.
awesome performances. The majority of I mean, all the stories are great, and like they, I feel like because I feel like Pulp Fiction fits really well into like today's day and age where like everything has to be shorter, right? Because like you get, it's like much smaller. It's not like you're watching a whole. It feels like you're watching four different little mini movies
Yeah,
versus watching one
Yeah.
big movie. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's a TikTok of movies before you know what I mean? Before movies before everything
Say
become a
what?
thing that way.
One more
But
time.
all
super
right.
quotable. The dialogue's amazing.
So number 8, nobody's arguing. Pulp Fiction's a masterpiece. Number 7, again, we can skip that. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. No arguments being number 7. Number 6, I am ashamed to say it again. I have not seen number 6, Schindler's List.
I've seen it. I don't. I. It's mad depressing. It's. It's.
It's a great
It's a
I don't.
story. It's a
Pers-
hard story to get hyped up and
digest.
digest. I think. Yeah, I think it is a
yeah.
sad story. It's
It's
heavy.
heavy as
And it's
hell.
about the Holocaust, right?
It's about the Holocaust. It's about this guy named Schindler, who's like a war profiteer. So like he's like but he's like doing good things to try to like save a bunch of Jewish people, if I'm not mistaken. But he's also taking advantage of the situation and
Profiting off
like
of it.
has a factory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like at the end of it, it's like a it's juxtaposed like the morality of the whole situation. Like, was he a good guy or was he a bad guy? Because yeah, he did all these good things, but he was also kind of involved with letting a lot of the atrocities happen and like propagating them and whatnot. And like it's just mad. It's a good movie. It's just super heavy and like, but it's also one of those movies that I feel like if there was movies that I feel like had to be like required viewing, like almost like how you have required reading in school.
Right.
Like I feel like this would be one of those lists that like one of those movies that I would make all kids like watch, just because like the way he depicts the horror of what's happening around and like how easily you can go from just like being a normal person and then slowly like I was just following orders. You know what I mean? Like I was just doing what I was told to do, right? Like like how a lot of the Nazis kind of justified the evil shit they did,
Yeah.
right? It was like everyone was doing it, and it was just like, yeah. I mean, it's a very good movie, but it's heavy.
That's probably why I haven't watched it. I'm not a big fan of sad, depressing movies. But number 6, Schindler's List. I can't argue it. It's on every top list out there. So I mean, people know better than I do. So, number 5, never even heard of this movie. 12 Angry
What?
Men.
You never seen 12 Angry Men?
I don't guess I have.
I've seen it, but it's
I
been a really long time. I hardly remember much about it. I think it was about a jury or something. I don't remember much about
Oh man, I love. This is it's in my top five. Like I love this fucking movie.
Huh.
So it's it's if this how I know it's good. My daughter's 11. Okay, the movie's fucking black and white. I put it on for her, quiet the entire time, enraptured. All right, just like super into this movie, and it's so simple. It's like there's 12 guys in a room, right? They're they're the jury, right, for a murder case, right? And it's pretty much one guy doesn't agree with the other guys. They all want to get out of there. They all want to, convict this guy of murder, and that's like of murder, this kid of murder. And this one guy just doesn't. He's not willing to make the decision that without a doubt, the guy's guilty, and he slowly, one by one, picks apart all the reasons as to why they're for, like, saying that he's guilty, and like makes them see his point of view, and changes minds, and like reconstructs things and gets people to get a side with him, and then at the end of it all, the guy ends up not being guilty because this one juror like convinced them all, and it's literally just 12 guys in a room talking, and it's so fucking good.
All
I
right.
love that movie.
I
In my
know
top
that
five,
like a
easily
lot of
in my top five.
the trope of them convincing, one lone jury person convincing the rest of the jury is kind of based off this, but I really don't remember the details because it's probably 25 years since I've seen it. It's been a long time, but I'll have to watch it again.
Well,
Love it.
if
I watched
Alan
it.
says it's top 5 and IMDb says it's top 5, so I guess it has to be pretty good.
I love it.
Number 4, my hands down absolute favorite, write it down, end of story, superhero movie of all time. Number 4, The Dark Knight. Come on with this Joker in this movie.
Yeah.
That
Heath Ledger is probably the best villain
fucking
on film.
killed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a superhero movie. It's a crime film.
Well, it's got a
crime film
superhero in it.
No, but that was the genius of it, right? It was like he just made a crime film that happened to have like fantastical elements to it, right? Like it was put into Gotham, and your hero is a guy that wears a bat suit, and the villain is this crazy guy who just happens to dress like the Joker. But like if you were to just change the way they look, the movie would be fucking amazing regardless, right? Like because the structure, that like the story and like the ideas and all the stuff that happens is kind of, it doesn't need the Batman, it doesn't need the Joker, right? It's just
that ominous music that plays when the Joker's on the screen, that low hum kind of screechy. This movie is a masterpiece as far as criminal drama. I mean,
yeah.
I ask myself, in Jack Nicholson's prime, if he wouldn't have got the Joker in the first Batman, if you gave Jack Nicholson this role in his prime as the Joker, how fucking good would that have been?
I don't know, man. Heath Ledger did a
I am not going to take anything away from Heath Ledger. He killed it. But that was the first thing I thought of when I saw this and compared it to the Joker in the first Batman. I'm like, God, if Jack Nicholson could have had this part as the Joker, that would have been a totally different Batman movie. I mean,
the Joker was just so unhinged in this movie. Like he was maniacal. Like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like he was acting. Like he legitimately lost his mind a little bit making this movie.
It felt gritty. It felt like what I feel like these superhero and criminal type movies should be. They shouldn't be happy lollipop unicorn movies. They should be real life, because this is some shit that would happen in real life. I mean, look at the serial killers we've had. Like Gacy dressing up as a clown and shit, killing people. I mean, working kids' birthday parties. That's like a real villain. So, Dark Knight, man. If you haven't seen that one, you can throw all that other shit out the window. Iron Man's and the Avengers, all that shit. Dark Knight is hands down the best superhero movie.
I'd be curious to know how much screen time Heath Ledger had in this compared to the Batman character on here, because his Joker seemed like the one you wanted to see on the screen. Like you wanted to see more of the Joker, almost almost more than you wanted to see Batman.
So good.
But when they were together, they made it. They just it was like sparks igniting. You know, it was crazy.
I wanted the Joker to win. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
good he was.
yeah,
The fucking disappearing pencil. Come on, who comes up with that
yeah.
shit?
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
God.
Yeah. Or he's like, I'm like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get it. I'm just
So
enjoying the
good,
ride.
so good.
Yeah, so
No
good.
arguments being number 4 from
It's really
me.
good.
Um, it's a masterpiece. Crime
Yeah.
drama, crime movie, superhero movie. Number 2 and 3, we
Nolan's
can.
second movie on here too, I think, right?
What's that?
Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan did
Oh yeah,
Inception as well, and he's on the list. So he's on
he's
the
the one
list
that
twice, I
directed
think.
the.
Numbers 2 and 3, we can wrap together. I don't think there's going to be any arguments that they should be 2 and 3. And you guys have probably already guessed it, watching and listening. Number 2 and 3 are number 3, The Godfather Part 2, and number 2, the first Godfather. What can you say about The
Man,
Godfather?
man, I put my little brother to watch this movie because he hadn't seen it. He watched it this year. I put him to watch it, and I remember I fought for years to get him to watch this movie, and he's like, "It's old and it's gonna be boring and slow," and he watched it, hooked, and the entire time just hooked. And then he finally, like at the end, he's like, "Wow, I I didn't think I was gonna enjoy that as much as I enjoyed it, man. Like, holy shit. I can see why it's one of the best movies. It's man, I'm personally partial to part two because I love seeing, Robert De Niro as Vito and the flashbacks.
Yep.
But man, come on. What bad thing can you say about this damn thing? Like
Yeah,
pop culture references. It's part of like pop, like just normal culture. Like it has crazy references, it has drama, it has action, it has like it's just so good.
it's it's definitely a masterpiece as well.
Oh,
It's
1000%.
I mean, you can't say enough good about The
Yeah,
Godfather, in my opinion.
it's just really.
I can't think of anything bad to say about
Yeah,
it,
yeah, exactly.
except it's really fucking long.
It doesn't even feel that long to me. That's the thing, and it doesn't feel that long to me.
And
It really doesn't.
I don't hate it because of that. I'm just kind of making a joke because you need that time for this story
To hash out
to
all the
develop.
details,
Yeah,
And
flesh the
you
yeah,
characters
have to
out.
have it. But I mean, it is long. If you wanted to sit down and watch the series or like the two
hmm
together, definitely going to take a while. But that's really the only
How
con.
many times have you seen a movie where a guy goes to the bathroom and gets a gun? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, come on.
yeah. Godfather. No arguments here being number 2 and 3. And we could probably make a whole episode just talking
Yeah,
about The
it's
Godfather, but we got to
it's really
move.
good.
I
Honestly,
mean, we're already over an hour, so everybody wants to know what number 1 is. If The Godfather's number 2 and 3, what could have beaten The Godfather? Well, according to IMDb, number 1 is The Shawshank Redemption. And in my mind, I don't know if it beats The Godfather, but
I don't think it does. I think it should be three.
it's a damn good movie.
It is a really good movie.
I mean, best prison movie ever. I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
anybody can
Morgan
argue
Freeman's
that.
awesome in it.
What's that?
Morgan Freeman's
Yeah,
awesome in it.
Morgan Freeman's awesome. Tim, what's it? Timothy Robbins. Tim Robbins.
Yeah, Tim Robbins.
Tim
Yeah.
Robbins. No, not Tim Robbins. That's a different guy. This is Timothy Robbins, I think, or I don't know. Anyway, but the main character.
Tim Robbins. Yeah.
Okay, it's Tim Robbins.
Yep.
He's great in this movie. Um, I don't know. That may be the movie I've seen the most in my life.
Really?
Yeah, because it's always on TNT. So like when I'm flipping channels, I'm like, oh shit, I'll watch Shawshank Redemption. Because everything else on TV is ass. So I mean,
I think, and this is me. This is a hot take. All right. I don't think that it's not a good movie. I think it's a very good movie. It's a very good movie. But I think the reason that it's as revered as it is because exactly what you said about
because
it always being
everybody's
on.
seen it.
Everyone's fucking seen it. It's on all the time on every channel,
Yeah.
nonstop. So like, and it's like there's parts of it where they'll cut out of the original movie when you put it on TV because you can't show some of the stuff that
Yeah.
happens in the full length movie. So like I feel like it makes it a little bit more digestible. It's like just bad enough where it's like kids might see it and be like, oh, like, oh, I'm not supposed to be watching this. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be like, you know what I mean? Like, so you might get them to watch, and it's just on all the time. I don't, I don't see how it should be above Godfather, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Does it beat The Godfather? I don't know about that. I don't know that it
yeah,
beats other movies in this list.
I think it deserves to
yeah,
be in the
that's
top
what I'm
10.
saying.
I don't think it necessarily deserves to be number one. Maybe not even 1 through 5, but it's a really good movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not. There's what can you find wrong with it? There's not a whole lot. You know, like other movies, you're like, oh well, there's like a plot hole here or there. It's so well put together that I don't think you really have that. Also, you have really good acting from everybody in it. I
Yeah.
mean, the warden's a freaking bastard. You love him to be that character.
I think I'm with you. I think it's top 10. I don't think it's number one.
Yeah.
yeah.
But, what do we know? They didn't ask us when they did this item.
Well, I guess we could put our own top 20 if we wanted to, but
I guess we could. I mean, so might be a little argument on the panel that this should be number one. The rest of them we really hadn't had a problem with, but this one beating The Godfather, that one kind of stings a little bit. I mean, The Godfather's, that's an icon. And
Yeah, man.
I don't know, but maybe that
I
is.
just
Maybe
can't.
it's because it's more digestible. I mean, you can sit down and watch Shawshank Redemption in 2 hours. You want to watch the
Yeah, shit.
Godfather
Less.
trilogy or
Yeah.
the two Godfathers would take you 7.
The
So
TV, the TV cut probably less than 2 hours.
oh, it's got to be
You know what I mean?
hour and 45 minutes, hour and a half, something.
Yeah. So
So
because they cut a bunch of shit out. So like, I remember seeing this. I remember seeing it on TV, and then finally sitting down and watching like the full length and being like, "Whoa, what the hell? This didn't happen. Like
right,
this didn't happen."
no, that's just your
Yeah.
deja
I mean, it's a very
vu,
good movie, but
incorrectly or
Deja
deja
Vu.
visite.
All right, so there you go. That's IMDb's top 20. If people like this, maybe we'll do 20 through 40. Well, maybe we'll go through the whole 250. I don't know. If people don't like it, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just sit around and drink beers and not video it. So
all right, how about this? Before we go though, before we break off,
yeah,
I want you guys to look through 21 to 30, and you tell me if you think any of those movies should be higher up on the list.
21 through 30.
Yep. And I will tell you right now that the movie I'm going to pick that needs to be higher up in this list.
Well, I thought
that.
Silence of the Lambs needed to be higher.
Yeah. City of God.
I think Saving Private Ryan's probably higher.
Nah.
Spider-Man No Way Home
high.
is at 26. I don't
haven't
think
seen
There's
it.
no way that's in the top 20.
The Green Mile is at 30. I think
don't
The
think it should
Green
be-
Mile
I
should
don't-
probably be higher than that.
I don't think so. I think City of God is just got robbed.
I've never,
Like I'm
I've
like
never seen that.
that movie should be way higher up.
There's a lot of movies on here that I think probably could be higher.
Have you seen Life is Beautiful? I always hear about Life is Beautiful, but I've never
I
seen
feel like I've seen that. I don't remember what it is.
I don't
though.
remember seeing it either.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would probably, if I took all these movies, my list would probably look different.
I'll tell you what. I think
for
some of the top 30 from 21 to 30 do not need to be on this list that high. That's what I will say.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's some that should be moved up and some that should be moved down. There's definitely a different scale for the way I rate movies. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see what kind of reaction we get. Maybe we'll get to have a little more in-depth conversation about.
Yeah, I'm
movies.
interested to see what what our followers think here.
Yeah. So, with that being said, again, check out our website, partiallycultured.com. Hit the social media links. Let us know what you guys think. What's your number one movie? Till next time, we'll see you guys.
Take it easy.
See ya.